color, red, blue, black. Black one. Send me a mailing address. Send me a mailing address. Good morning, Vietnam. No, good morning. This is Ian from the Auto Hub Show. And before I started with a quick interview I did with Aaron Guy from Pohanka of Salisbury, this is a quick segment. This interview will be up later this week. I wanted to talk about the two big news items that just happened today. One of them is Mazda. They just released a new patent on a car engine that does multiple combustion. So it's like a 5-stage combustion engine. So think of it like a gas engine that works like a hybrid. And then the other big news for the EV lovers or haters out there is Warren Buffett just sold $415 million in shares, a 10% stake in BYD. And the reason given was, well, it's not performing the way it used to.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. But anyway, let's start with a segment of this interview. If you're not familiar with Pohanka of Salisbury, Aaron Guy is the director of community partnerships. And the thing that's interesting about this role is he doesn't sell cars, but what he does is he helps people in the community buy cars from the dealership group. And they have a bunch of locations. So this is a segment of the interview. The interview will be up in its entirety, hopefully later this week. So that's a quick segment of that video. If you are looking to build a community partnership division at your dealer or dealer group, definitely reach out to Aaron Guy. He does that. And it's a really innovative way to give back to the community, but also to grow your business by actually working with businesses in your local community. What a novel idea. And it was really interesting. What an interesting idea and what a novel one. But it was definitely interesting to interview him. And there's another interview that's under wraps for a while. New launch coming out as soon as I have approval. I'll be talking about that as well. I did that interview, but I'm not yet ready to share it. Not allowed by people, but that's a top secret one. Will be out soon as well. 1 second. That's what we want. Here we go. And good morning.
Life is about connection, having a support system to lean on, and roads to endless possibility. At every turn, guiding the way, we are building the connections that move you.
One of the really nice things about Larry, one of the reasons that we brought him to our dealership, is he's still very much aligned with our core values. So with our brand, which is thoughtful and professional service. And because that alignment really worked out well, because he was so committed to the success of others, we really knew that he was the right person to spend time with our sales team. with our managers and each sales consultant. And we're just really thrilled to have a partnership with him. And so we thank him.
How do you adventure? Is it fast? Is it free? Is it clear? Is it rugged? Is it remote? For your next adventure, trust MotoClose for buying, selling, trading, and protecting all of your motorized assets. Powered by Disclose Dealership Management Dashboard, your all-in-one DMS, CRM, menu, lead gen, inventory, staff, client, and deal management solution. Disclose DMD, like a DMS, only better. Mention promo code AutoHub2025 to get special pricing, including waived setup costs, no contract, and your first month's free.
Car dealers often underestimate the power of social media. Are you wondering why my face is plastered in your newsfeed? Are you a GM, dealer principal, or a manager at a car dealership wondering why you see me all the time on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and all over social media? Well, that didn't happen by chance. I target car dealers that are in-market shoppers for social media services, and I'm going to do the exact same thing for you so that you target in-market shoppers for your brand of customers that purchase your vehicles. During my Viato days, helping car dealers appraise and price cars, everyone was asking me, what do I do on social media? What do I do with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? And this was back in 2016. So here we are 10 years later. I started a company, became an entrepreneur, and now I help car dealers. They either outsource their social media needs to us, or we have a training and education center where we can teach all of your employees how to do social media in-house. 90% of consumers actually follow a business on Instagram. The average adult sits on TikTok for 2 hours a day in the rabbit hole. To learn more information about it or to get a demo from one of my sales associates, click the link below. We would absolutely love to help you.
And good morning. So we have a number of great guests today. 1 second here. Let's move this over here. And let's stop there. There we go. Here we go. Share. All right. So we have a newbie on the show today. So I thought I would start with him. That's Larry. And if you don't know Larry, Larry's with a small company backed by a big company called Numa. So Larry, maybe you can introduce yourself and answer the following question. How can dealers retain more customers in 2025?
Ian, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So I have a 40-year automotive background. Been with Numa for about 4 years. Numa is an AI call rescue platform for auto dealerships. Cool. Beg your pardon?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Perfect. So to answer the first question of the day, and thank you for allowing me to do that.
Yeah.
You know, as a former dealer myself, retention, and I'm sure somebody else is going to say this, but you know, the deal with a client starts with the sale of the car, right? It's all about service, retaining that client with the dealership brand, with the OE brand. But the biggest part about retaining a customer is, you know, making sure that that customer stays with dealership service and that we provide that customer with an exceptional service experience. And that really all starts with communication. I think that's where most service departments fail, is in communicating with customers when they're on the drive or in that service experience, spending money with your dealership.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for that. And if you missed the intro video, I'm going to be posting that full interview a little later. It's a gentleman works for a dealer group, and he's the community engagement coordinator, which I think is a great way to think outside the box. So we have the one, the only Russell Hill. I know you're not going to talk at all about service and retention, but Russell, maybe you can answer the question. How can dealers retain more customers, in your opinion, in 2025?
Well, I'm going to ditto everything Larry said, but it is certainly a focal point, and I think there's a lot of opportunity with connected services today. But I'm still going to go back to the same stuff that's been tried over and over and over again. Communicating with the customer, building a relationship with the customer, but they need to buy tires. During the warranty period, they need to buy tires from you. It's like, I don't know if it's 30 or 33%, but it's one of those two of people that still don't know that OEMs even sell tires. The franchise dealers even sell tires. It's ridiculous. Okay. I understand there's no margins there, but it's the long game. And if we really get into this, because this is the single largest purchase they're going to make during the warranty period. So if you're doing oil changes for the first 3 years, something like that, which is really not expensive at all, twice a year coming in for oil changes, you get them into that habit and you set them up properly, they're going to need tires. And if they don't get them from you, they're going to get them from somebody else down the street. And if they do, because there's 16 of those independents that surround your franchise dealer, if they get them there, guess what they're telling them? We can do your alignments, your brakes, your batteries, all that stuff. Therein starts the madness. Now, I know that at least the numbers I have post-pandemic, 67% of the people that buy tires from you continue to service with you and buy a newer pre-owned vehicle. Hello, it's not rocket science, but it all starts with some of the stuff that Larry was talking about. I'm sure everybody, both Larry's and Joe, even you, look, when the customer drives up, why don't you just smile and introduce yourself and ask them what their name is? And instead of, do you have an appointment today, with a frown on your face? Are you kidding me? Let's start there.
Fantastic.
I could go on for the whole show, but that's enough.
No worries. So we have two Larrys on today, not to confuse the Larrys, but we have the one, the only Larry Feldman on today. So Larry, I know retention's not important in car dealers, right?
Only if you're an imbecile. I'm going to slightly disagree with Larry Stanley. Larry Stanley, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir. Unlike you and my learned and good friend Russell Hill, I take issue with what you both said, because you said it starts in service. I think it starts in sales, because you still have dealers not doing mandatory service walks. Hey, if I'm lucky enough they're in your business, these are the nice folks that are going to work on your car. And here's the great news. Not only are we competitive price-wise, you don't ever have to worry about being sold the wrong part or something that will screw up your warranty. Man, these guys can take care of everything. Shakespeare called it foreshadowing. You see it in movies all the time, an obscure character becomes central to the plot. If we don't understand how symbiotic the relationship is between sales and service, we're going to continue to have this weird schism where they're one country and we're the other, and we're never going to coexist. Russell's heard me say it, Larry Stanley, you haven't yet. I'm a freak for sales service meetings. When I owned my store, I was. When I talk to dealers and visit them for training and recruiting, you got to pull these two groups of people together. They're not disparate. They're the same team. If one drops the ball, everybody loses.
Fantastic. And then we have Mr. Joel Benson from VidCalls. Joel, maybe you can talk a little bit about retaining customers, because we know the cost of acquiring new customers is quite high. I mean, you'd be a little crazy to quote Larry, and I know Larry has a book, Inner More and Demon, so some people think he's a little crazy, but to not pay attention to retaining the customers you already have is crazy. What do you think?
You have to keep retaining customers. There's just no two ways about it. It's much more difficult to get a new customer than to get an existing customer. Unfortunately, in this show, we're a sponsor of Auto Hub Show. I'm very happy to be one. But we go after new customers on websites, on dealer websites. So when a customer goes to a dealer website, it could be for service, but it could be for parts, it could be for new car sales. All they do is make one click on the website and they're meeting on a video call, just like we're meeting on a video call today. That's basically the only difference.
And maybe you can share some details. I know VidCalls is doing a trial offer for auto dealers coming up later this month. Maybe you can share a few details of how they find out more about that.
Yeah, for sure. If I can have a little plug here. Next week's show is going to be on telephone calls to dealers versus video calls to dealers. Which is better, which is more effective, and which is the future? Well, obviously the future is video calls. If a customer can make one click on their smartphone and meet with a dealer, instead of listening to them, they can see the whole process. They can see the service department, they can see financial papers, they can see new models of cars. The dealer can take their cell phone and go out in the lot and show the consumer their models in different colors. It's a no-brainer. So that's what we're doing next week, and we are going to be offering dealers a free 60-day trial of VidCalls at absolutely no cost. And the reason why we're doing that is because our product is so new that it needs to be seen, it needs to be shown. We don't just want to have people buy into VidCalls right away, we want you to see it. So we're offering 60-day free VidCalls to auto dealers, which is a value of about $1,600.
Thanks for that.
Hey, Joel, I got to jump in on what you're saying. The original question that Ian asked me and everybody else is, how do we retain customers? And I think I'm very familiar with Joel's product. I think what you're doing is what Amazon did. You're making it easier to connect. Everybody wants convenience.
Russell, novel idea.
Russell, every damn I'm a Dunkin' Donuts freak. You know I'm very well caffeinated at all times, Mr. Hill. And every damn Dunkin' Donuts that's in a shopping center is closing. Why? Because they wanted to have enough free space for a drive-through. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the day I'm too damn lazy to jump out of my car and get my iced tea and my donut, shame on me. But, and Larry Stanley, you'll get a chuckle out of this. You're a former dealer, you know, like I do, if you're not hands-on, you're dead. I walked into a McDonald's in Florida the other day. Yeah, I'm still living high, Russell. I got ignored. And the reason I got ignored is they were paying attention to the people in the drive-thru. I thought the car business was stupid. How stupid do you have to be to ignore the person that walks in to get the people that are too lazy to get out? But it's still the world we live in, and the easier we make it for customers, the better. There isn't any tech, and I know a lot of really geeky techs, nice guys, but they're geeks. Even they hate it when they just want to ask a question and they have to go through 19 prompts or they wind up off to a robot.
Yeah.
So I think the real answer to retain these things is to smile at people, make it clear that I'm really glad you're here, do what you say you're going to do, but make the process easy. Again, Larry, just walking you because I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you before today. I met Ian years ago, and we do not only do I'm on this show all the time, but we teamed up on the Lethal Sales Show. I met Russell through a podcast. We became best buddies, and I'm trying to push Joel's program because it's so inexpensive and so effective. But it still comes down to the same thing. We're in a business where we're trying to take people's money and get more of their money, and yet we do everything we can to throw up every roadblock and obstacle. It's just crazy. It's almost like we get up in the morning and go, what can I do to irritate the people I'm dealing with?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Larry.
Another retail business is doing terrible. Their sales are falling like crazy. Starbucks. What does Starbucks do? You used to be able to go to Starbucks with your computer, sit in a chair,
Right.
have your latte, have a donut, stay there for 2 or 3 hours. They took away all their tables and they made their chairs as small as possible so they're uncomfortable. So people drink and then get out. Exact same thing what you were saying, Larry.
Yeah.
But by the way, Larry, you're probably not aware of this, but besides being the world's, not most humble, but the world's greatest trainer recruiter, I am starting my own political party. And I want to suggest jail sentences for anybody that orders anything in Starbucks other than an iced tea or coffee. Larry, have you ever been in a hurry and you're behind somebody that wants, it's 19 variations on the order. How about giving me an iced tea and get out of the way? Yeah.
It's almost like there should be 2 lines or something.
Yeah, there's the special order line for the special people, and then I just want simple, man. Like, I'm just looking for simple.
And Larry, feel free to say anything at the top of your mind, because no matter what you do today, you'll only be the second least mentally stable person named Larry. So speak freely, my friend.
So we have a question for you, Larry. But go ahead and add a thought first
Which
if
Larry?
you want.
Yeah,
For Larry Stanley. So we know.
First of all,
Go ahead.
send me an invite to your party, Larry, because I was in Northport, Florida, traveling a week and a half ago. Stopped because we had to use the restroom. It was a Starbucks. We stood there literally at the counter with one other person sitting in this Starbucks 15 minutes before they stopped paying attention to the drive-through and took our order. It was horrible. So, yeah, I want to join the
Now, before you answer the question for whoever asked it, you've never heard me quote my boy Einstein, so I'm going to quote him for you. They asked the great genius of last century, what's the difference between genius and stupidity? And he says, genius has its limits. We have entered an era where stupidity is unbounded, where everybody gets up in the morning once again and says, how stupid can I be? How ridiculous can it be? Listen, I know Russell Hill, I know Joe, I'm starting to like you already, and I'm going to send you an invite on LinkedIn, and I know Ian. I leap over cars to answer my phone. I'll go anywhere or do anything.
I don't know how you do it, but you do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I understood a long time ago. I'm that weird bird, Larry. I'm a musician that doesn't do drugs or drink. But I found out about since 1988, the greatest time on earth is when they say yes. You and me are former dealers. Tell me you don't jump up and down when somebody wants your services. It just never gets old.
Yeah.
But we're in a world where it's like, again, I'm just talking to Larry now because he's a dealer and he had the same homicidal instincts I did. How about when you're listening around the corner and somebody pulls up and two salesmen go, what does he want? Maybe he's here to buy a car. We are a car dealership.
Yeah. So Larry, I have a question. I have a Larry said.
Right? Do you have an appointment today? Like, who cares? Let's service the car. Let's make the money.
Yeah. So Larry, I have a question for you. I know you never have this question. What are dealers not doing? I mean, you've talked to a lot of dealers who, on the service side, on the sales side, all over North America, who are saying, hey, how can I get better at retention and service? What do you think they're not doing well? Like, what, if you could pick one thing, like, what do you think?
Well, answering the phones is obviously the number one topic here today, right?
Yeah.
But providing the customer, and we hear from our OE partners, we're with Toyota, General Motors, soon to be Stellantis. It's the same thing on the retention side. Is the number one reason for defection from dealerships or even the brand itself in service is lack of or bad communication, right?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, as Larry, you're a former dealer. I mean, I started on the service drive in 1985, and the route sheet was the holy grail, right? Like, my 10 and 2 check-in with my old service manager, Doug, was like, why do you only have 50% of your customers updated on their repairs? So even if you don't use an AI tool or an electronic tool, right? I don't know where the route sheet went. I think it disappeared 15, 20 years ago. But go back to the route sheet, right? Make sure that your customers are on the service side. And I speak a lot on the service side. That's my passion, right? I love sales, but I really love service. But go back to that paper route sheet. Make sure your people are communicating with your customers. Because if the OE says the number one reason for defection is bad communication, not a bad repair, right? Or a bad facility, or even bad coffee in the waiting room, it's communication. Get back to communicating with your customers. You will retain your customers.
Larry, I'm at a dealership 2 weeks ago, and the owner has taken a liking to me, hard as that is to believe. And he says, all right, Feldman, you got my sales team pumped up. You got me a tech, you got me an advisor. Can you spend a couple minutes in service? Now, I'm really more of a sales trainer than a service trainer, but I said, sure. I walked back. I didn't talk to the service advisor yet. I didn't talk to the tech yet. I went to the phone operator, and I said, would you like me to make your life easy? She smiled. She says, please. I said, the next time somebody calls and they want an advisor, the manager, say, let me see if he's at his desk. Hold on. Come right back and say, he's there, I'm putting you through, or he's not there. Would you prefer his voicemail, or I could give him a written message? We'd solve half the problems.
Yeah.
These guys are busy. They don't get the message. And man, when I was a salesman, before I owned the place, I followed through. It's not that I didn't love my service people. But I knew when they'd say, I'll call you at 1, sometimes they meant Pacific Standard Time and we were in Eastern Standard Time. If you don't follow up, if you don't make it easy, again, Larry, you don't have a worse computer guy on this call than me. Okay, I can barely use my garage door over here. But I answer my damn phone and I sign people up all over, and everybody on this panel, and you'll learn it if we become friends, know if you call me, you get me. You shouldn't get a medal for that. But once again, we're in a society where people don't answer their phone. Then why the hell do you have a phone?
100%. Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Larry.
I'm gonna task the dealers that are on the call today with Ian and us. Have your service operator, when she picks up the phone and they request to speak to an advisor, half of them don't even know their advisor's names, number one, right? That's a problem. There's no relationship. But have them ask a simple question and get a little tick sheet, right? You don't need a computer, Larry. But ask the question, are you calling Larry for a status update today? And if the customer says yes, tick it, right? And at the end of the day, the service manager should be looking at that and going, wow, Russell didn't have any status update calls today. Guess what? He did his job, right? If they're not calling you, you've been calling them. But if you see that Joel, sorry, Joel, I'm gonna pick on you, buddy, but he had 7 status update requests. He failed seven service customers that day, right? Find out what's happening and what's not happening in your drive. You don't need us, you don't need a computer. Just that simple question from the operator. It takes 2 seconds. Are you calling them for an update on your repair? If they say yes, tick and move on. You'll find out real quick, right? Like 41% of the calls that we rescue for our 1,700 dealers are asking for a status update. 41%. Right? So it goes hand in hand with that OE, right? Like there's your defection.
41%.
Ian,
Wow.
is it possible when you put this program out on YouTube that you could edit that out? Let him continue to be a net, Larry. I've got my eye on a nice boat. I want to continue to reap the profits from people being incompetent. He didn't tell me he'd be this good.
Listen,
He's got my name, man.
Listen, like Larry, I started in 1985 selling cars, so there's no threat at all to you not having the ability to continue doing what you're doing full scale, Larry. There's always a need for it.
Yeah.
100%.
I feel better knowing there's so much incompetence that despite Larry's great advice, I'll still be fine. Thank you, Reverend Russell.
So 41%, that's a crazy stat, but more importantly, when you look
I believe it. I would have thought it would have been higher, actually.
Really?
Well, look, it probably is in dealerships that don't pay attention. And, you know, I'm going to throw a crazy number out at you guys right now, but we just, in the past 4 years of being in automotive, we have rescued 40 million service calls that the team couldn't get to, right?
Does not even, I believe it.
Yeah. But 41% of 40 million it just blows me away. But, you know, anyway, it's a problem. You can solve it without technology is my point. You just got to be willing to do it, right?
But how many calls, is there any stats on how many calls are missed, like not answered at all?
Well, we track it for the individual stores, and obviously some stores do a better job. If you look at Highlines, Mercedes, BMW, Lexus, those stores spend more money on resources, right? They have bigger BDCs and call centers for appointment scheduling. They typically don't run 15, 17 repair orders a day per advisor, right? It's more like 9, 10.
Right.
So the more resources you have, the less calls you're gonna miss, or at least I hope you would miss. The other piece of advice I would give the dealers is keep your advisors at their station, because that's where their phone is. And even though we're an AI rescue platform, you know, we tell the dealers right up front, we don't want to replace your people. We prefer that your people are answering these calls, right? That human to human interaction is what the customer deserves when they're spending money with your dealership. We're only there to rescue the calls when they can, but you got advisors, you know, at the parts counter, out in the bay with a technician, you know, they're all over the place. They're never, I hate to say it because I'm in stores all the time. They're not at their desks more than 40% of the day, right?
Yeah.
Where they should be customer facing and answering that phone.
So, yeah, I mean, we all talk about sales a lot, and we also talk about service as well. But obviously, when sales sells a car, the service side is what retains that customer. If the customer, you know, defects and never comes back, the chance of that dealer selling another car is probably pretty low. But I guess my question for Joel, being that Joel doesn't work in retail, I mean, what do you think on that dealers aren't doing to retain customers? I mean, you've had experience with service departments. I mean, are you getting your calls answered? I mean, what's your experience?
No, I have one service manager who I've known for 20 years, and I rely on him all the time. And if he's not there, if he's on vacation, I'm screwed because there's no way that I can get the information that I want on my car. So I always bring my car in for service when I know that he's there, and he's the guy that takes care of it. And that is definitely a problem in the industry, but for me, that's what I got.
And has that helped them retain you, the dealer retain you as a customer when you buy like another vehicle? Like, has that also moved that needle for you?
I drive Mercedes, and I've been to that same Mercedes dealership. I bought 4 cars over the past 10, 12 years. Yeah, I only go there.
And I know Larry has an opinion here because I know he was a big Nissan customer for quite a while. Has the service experience when you service that car retained you as a customer?
It really depends, and I think everybody will agree with this. It really depends on which dealership you're dealing with. There are some places that are so overwhelmingly customer oriented. It's a pleasure. Unfortunately, Larry and Russell will back me up that most of these dealers checked out their own service lanes or their own service websites. The next call would be to the suicide prevention hotline.
Yeah.
Because what they think is happening in their dealership, it isn't happening. It's again, Russell, you would have loved to have seen me in action. I was even crazier in Florida than what it was when I saw you in Texas. I trained 3.5 hours, then another 2 hours. Man, everybody rushed to LinkedIn to get me. It was just a really fun thing. But I made it clear, man, stop thanking me. I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad you took the time to come to class. I think that if you don't have an attitude of gratitude, you're dead. And Larry, I started off, it sounded like I was kidding, but I wasn't, that it amazes me how successful I've become with the tagline, he answers his phone. But if you think about it, nobody answers their damn phone. So why would it in their mind be important to address the problem you stated so beautifully that they're not at their desk, that it's not important? And let me just tell Larry this because it'll lock in his brain. I'm at the dealership, which I wound up owning as a salesman the first 2 weeks. And the GM is leaving, and he says to the operator, she says to him, "You have a call, boss." And he says, "Tell him I left." And I thought, what kind of moron are you? If it's a small problem and you solve it, you're a hero. If you let it fester overnight, you made an enemy. What if it's a guy who wants to buy 2 cars?
Yeah.
But what's important to us is, listen, we all know, Larry, I don't know about you, but I hate golf. I never liked it. I'm Jewish, and when I was a kid, blacks and Jews couldn't golf. It just always bothered me. I thought the game was slow, blah, 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 blah. Okay? But the people that like golf would rather play golf than have sex. Okay? They don't care if it's a tornado. They don't care what's going on. So the point is, we do what the hell we want to do. If we don't want to do something, we'll find a million excuses not to. But when we want to do something, nothing can stop us from doing it. So if our priority isn't a call, I got to tell you the truth. I'm very neurotic. I'm always afraid I'm going to miss something. I'm going to miss a call. I'm going to miss a customer. I'm not connected. So that drives me. Benson didn't get where he is, and Russell's built an unbelievable company. Okay? Ian, I don't know anybody anywhere that doesn't know Ian because we're driven to push, hey, I'm here. Thank you for reaching out to me. But if your attitude is if you don't answer your own personal phone, your own calls, why the hell would it be important your work to answer the calls?
Fantastic. So the other Larry, not to say Larry too, but the other Larry, Larry, what's your experience been with your own personal car? I mean, would you buy another car from your selling dealer because they took care of you, or like, what's your experience been on the service side?
Yeah, I'm very service oriented and loyal. So yes, I do purchase cars and have been purchasing cars for the last 4 years, first time in my life. And I'm residing down in Nashville, Tennessee. So the closest Chevy dealer, and I'm a Chevy guy, is a Alcera store actually in Goodlettsville. And, I've gotten great service, and I'm considering buying another pickup truck right now, and I'm going to give them the first shot because they've done a great job. Like, I call, I need an appointment. They typically get me in next day, which means I can drop my car off today. It's not that way in every single dealership, right? But no, I would definitely buy a car. So I have one comment from my friend Larry, who always answers his phone, and I love that. Dealerships, well, first of all, I'm going to fault the phone companies that dealerships purchase, because there's a little button on the phone, just like on your iPhone or your Android, where you can mute a call, right? But there's no report coming out of any phone system that I've ever found that can show me how many times Russell muted his phone when he was standing there and an incoming call came in. But I've seen it firsthand, guys. I've walked into dealerships, even our own clients, where I'll stand back behind the advisor desks and I'll see them, the phone will ring, they'll look down at it, they hit the mute button, right? You wanna know why? Because they don't have an update for the customer, which means they're not there to even give the customer an update when they call in. So they're like, well, I'll just avoid that for a minute, right? One of the biggest fears with our clients or even potential partners is that, oh, we got AI now. So guess what? We don't have to answer the phone. Well, we report on it. We can show you what advisor had how many missed calls. We can tell you how fast they called them back, right? We're giving them data that the phone system's never been able to have. Can you track that? Some of it, yeah. We talked about some of the opportunities in the store that you could do without AI, ours, anyone else's. But yeah, that mute button, it's the worst. It's the stupidity button is what I call it, Larry. You like that?
I love it, and as a dealer, you'll understand this. In the same way the phone companies don't, they provide a button that hurts you. Remember when you looked at your statement at the end every month? There was no column that showed you what you missed by not communicating.
Yeah.
We only show what we did, not what we didn't do. It's the same fallacy of, oh, I made plenty of money on that car. It's only been here a year. Did you measure the floor plan expense or all the other things that you had to do? Again, I as Ian mentioned, I wrote a book. You should get it, Larry. You'd love it. It's a riot called Inner Moron Demons: How to Avoid Them and How to Live Your Best Life. But there's a line in there that I love. Don't lie to yourself. There's nobody there to correct you.
And sign it, pay for it. How's that? So the last time I checked, guys, wait
a minute. If I'm going to sign it, I'm going to upsell you. We're going to get you the deluxe version. It has an autographed picture of Russell Hill and Joe Benson. Yeah, I think we have a cottage industry. I'm sorry, Larry.
No,
hold on. My wife just provided. There's the book, Inner Moron Demons. Here, honey, get in here. This guy claims he's Larry, but we didn't see any identification. We'll just take it.
Hello, my dear.
Nice plug. Nice plug.
Well, look, I've been shouting about service all day, but I am going to jump in on parts and sales too, right? It's a problem there, the phone, since we kind of got into the Larry show here. It's a problem there, and every salesperson will jump to answer a sales call, right? But the after sale, that's another area of opportunity for dealers. I mean, we rescue calls in sales where we hear things like, hey, I bought the car from you 2 weeks ago, haven't heard from you, and where are my freaking floor mats, right? So after sales is a big issue as far as retention. I think finance is a huge problem for retail. Yeah. And then you look at parts. So look, I'm gonna pick up my little desk phone. I'm actually up the street from Ian here in Calgary this week. I'm speaking to a 20 group today about, how they can do things with or without AI in dealerships. But this is the problem. Parts hold.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Guys, you give that customer more than 3 minutes, they're gone, right? They're not leaving a voicemail. They're going to call Napa or some other, dealership, and they're going to buy a part somewhere else. They need that part now. They're a retail customer that probably has Joe Mechanic wanting to, get that part today to put in their car, whatever. But that parts hold issue is a huge problem. And if you can't retain them in service and you don't do a good job in parts, right? Like even if I bought all my parts for a used car, I bought it at, Automation, for example, right? But I'm Joe Mechanic and service my own car, but I can't buy a part from you. Am I going to come buy a new car from you or a used car from you? No. Mm-mm. So anyway,
that's a question that, I think dealers aren't dealing with. And maybe it's the devil in the corner or the gorilla in the room what's the cost of not retaining customers in your opinion? Like if you're not focused on retention, understood, but what if you actually looked at that column and it said, okay, here's my P&L, here's the cost for the customers I didn't retain. Like that's what it actually cost me in the next 12 to 18 months.
And I think they've come up with numbers, and I don't know the exact figure, but that it's over $100,000 per customer in terms of what they bring in. And since as a salesman and as a dealer and as a sales trainer, I tell them you got to be foolish not to be prospecting all the time. Because with repeat referral, and if there's a referral fee involved, so you can close some months at 70%, where I don't care if you're Joe Girard, you're not going to close more than 15 or 20% at the door from strangers. So to lose customers is frightening, particularly when you consider how much we spend to get them in.
It's so common. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Russell, maybe you can comment a little bit on the surge retention. I know we talked a little bit about tires, and I know years ago I was training at a General Motors store. They actually brought in a gentleman to teach their service writers about tires, and he actually owned independent service centers all over, in this case, Greater Toronto area. And I asked him after he did the training, what's your service retention? He said 75%. And he wanted to get it higher. And General Motors at the time, they were hoping the dealers could be at 40%. That was their daydream goal.
It's like 7 out of 10 customers defected by the time they get to the end of the warranty period for a plethora, all of which we've been talking about. But I got to go back to the important thing, and I really need to address this Starbucks thing. Okay, this is a really big issue. And you're right. I'm right in front of them, and they're taking forever. So what do I do now? I pre-order, and I just walk in and pick it up, so I don't have to wait. So that's the solution for everybody out there. AI is huge, and people. There is no experts. There's been a couple of people that were referenced as an expert either by somebody else or even out of their own mouth. And they lose me right away because it's evolving and changing so rapidly. But I will say this, it's going to be an integral part, not only now, but in the very, very near future. It's going to be part of your job description. It's not to replace you. It's to supplement and make you more effective at the things that you do well. And one of them that you don't do well is answer the phone in a timely manner or call customers back. So AI is going to pick up that slack. If it's really the case, according to NADA, that there is 16 independents that surround a franchise dealer, and the biggest part of it has to do with the tire situation or convenience factor. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, many that are contributing factors. But even the independents will tell you that it's not even about tires for them. Once they get you, they got you, because they can do all the things that the franchise, for the most part. That is going to change, and is changing now because they're not equipped on the EV side. They're not equipped with some of the things I've heard recently about, case in point, Toyota. Talking to a fixed ops director at a huge Toyota store in Houston, Texas. And they have, now they're being graded on connected services. It's like all day, every day. These lights are going off in people's car, these notifications and stuff like that. So Toyota wants to know how they were communicated with and what time manner, and was there an RO open and closed? And has a lot of that to do with TLE and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's becoming very huge. Well, those independents don't have access to that. And that's going to be really critical in the near future. Not only that, but they don't have the expertise to even deal with that. But here's what typically happens, because I get it, and I want to address something that you asked earlier. So I'm driving down the road, and my originating dealer's in Houston. I'm 350 miles away. I bought my car there. It's like right now, as we're all talking, customers are buying cars, and they have no intention of ever using your service department because they're not in your market. They're buying the car and they're going elsewhere. Okay, and that's what happened with me. So I bought a Genesis from a Group 1 store down in Houston, and periodically I'll get these Service Now lights as an example that goes off, okay? And what do? I do what everybody else does. I hit no, and I go back and turn my music up and continue driving down the road. And so this is becoming really critical. But when check engine lights and things of that nature are happening, dealers are going to be notified about that stuff in advance, and AI is going to play a huge critical role in that, from merchandising and warehousing, distribution, parts obsolete. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And then I want to say that for me, it's all about the relationship. So I bought a second Genesis, and now there are popping up standalone Genesis dealerships. Okay. So when I came in for my appointment, I'd drive 40 miles for that appointment. I called, scheduled it. I was 30 minutes early. And even when I got there, I was still 3 cars deep. Okay. By the time the advisor got up to me, here's what he said. Do you have an appointment? I mean, he lost me right then and there. And it was all, that was downhill, but it was all downhill. So on my other Genesis, even though I didn't buy it there, I used my local Hyundai store. Okay. Well, they don't have access. They don't have access to parts. They don't have access to anything. So I have to go back to the Genesis dealer to get anything done. And I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it at all, because my relationship and the way I was treated is, even if it's more money, I don't care. I'll pay more for the convenience. Okay. Just like I'll pay $5 for a gallon of milk a minute away at the convenience store, hence the word convenience store, versus half that at Walmart, which is 15 minutes away, and it's a 30, 45-minute round trip. I'm still going to pay for that because it's convenient. That service is important to me. Do you all agree with that?
100%. 100%.
And I forgot where I was going with that, except that just pre-order your coffee. There you go.
I'm in Montreal right now, although our summer home is in Vermont, but my wife was born and raised in Canada. So I'm in Montreal right now. I was driving my Subaru 65 miles an hour down the road, and a light went on the dashboard. This happened 3 days ago. And I never saw that light before, right? So I had to pull over the side of the road. I had to look for a safe place, obviously, to pull over, take out the book, and start trying to figure out what the hell the light was for. If I could have called the dealer, shown them the light on my dashboard, someone there could have seen it on a video call, and I'm not pitching video call, I'm just telling you that's what can happen. They can say, this is my problem, or here's the problem with my tire, or here's the problem with this or this or this, and it could get explained to them how to take care of it. So it took me 35 minutes to go through the book with my wife to find out it was a leaky tire.
And you know what? The dealer would be notified. The dealer, that is when that light goes off, that connected services is automatically to the originating dealer, but they're not following up. They're just not.
Well, I actually had the pleasure of interviewing a gentleman who ran Ford Motor Company's collected services division for a number of years. I think about 7 years. I'll be putting up the interview for his next adventure soon. But it was interesting because I was talking about specifically connected vehicle services for Ford Motor. That's a whole division and a profit center for them. But more importantly, he said the biggest, misstep that was made in that area was BMW a couple of years ago. They were saying, oh, we could do a monthly recurring revenue model for heated seats and like have it in every car and then charge people monthly if they wanted to activate it. And that became kind of an interesting thing. But what was interesting specifically around connected services is, to your point, Russell, if I could add, and to Joel's point, if I could add value where basically I knew that went off and I could reach out to Joel and say, hey, Joel, it sounds like you're having a problem. How can I help? That's a huge plus versus, okay, bring it to the dealer and the light's there, I don't know, whatever. I got too much going on in my day. There's an opportunity there if it's handled right, or if that customer can call into a dealership and say, Larry, if it's after hours, say 2 a.m, someone else can help that customer, whether it be AI or a call center, where they can say, hey, Joel's on the side of the road. He's got this light on his dash. He has no idea what it is. Can you help him out? Right. I mean, I think OnStar pioneered this years ago with a button, but at the end of the day, like that's a huge value add. If I'm a Mercedes customer or something like that.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
When people have a problem and you jump in and you help them, you've won them over. That's why I never understood why people run from problems. See, you were saying earlier, Larry, they got the mute button. I don't want to handle it. It's not like the people say, oh, he didn't take my call. I won't worry about it. It prompts more anxiety.
Well, I had sold cars for 10 years. I haven't sold cars retail for about 15. up until a couple of years ago, I still got calls from my former customers because I was their go-to person, even though I didn't work at that dealership anymore. And the most common call I got was, well, my battery died in my car. The radio has a security code. I don't know how to do something with that. Can you help me out? That was the most common call I got. And those calls persisted almost 10 years after I sold cars. And the reason is customers just don't know how to solve that problem. They have an issue. They don't know how to solve it. And that's really what it comes down to. But also when you're looking at it from a retention point of view, if you're providing a high level of service, whether that be a Mercedes customer, a BMW customer, a Ford customer, in my case, a Jeep customer, that is going to, tie that person to the brand. And I think retention, not only from a dealership perspective, but brand loyalty is also an issue that brands are dealing with in 2025. Does anyone want to comment on that? I mean, obviously people will migrate, as Russell has, from Hyundai or from Toyota to Genesis. Would that be something that, would denote you moving brands? Like if you had an extraordinary experience with a certain brand, would you move car purchase, like cross brands for that?
You want me? I'll answer that first. Yeah. The answer is yes. I would, but I had I don't even know if I'm loyal to the brand. I have my own little idiosyncrasies with that, but service is really important to me. So I'd probably continue buying Genesis if I had. It's 40 miles to the closest dealership. 40 miles. So, and it's a horrible experience. So I don't know if I'm going to get a Mercedes or a BMW next time, but I certainly love my Genesis. I don't even know if I answered that, if that was really the question, but.
Well, obviously Joel's a Mercedes customer. Joel, if you had a better experience, whether it be on a rental car or whether it be on another brand of car, would you consider changing what you buy?
I'm a Mercedes guy. I don't think I would change. I have a very good relationship with the dealership, as I mentioned, with my service manager. Yep. And why would I go anywhere else?
Well, that's why right there.
Yeah.
Those are big whys.
Yeah. Larry, did you want to comment on that?
I haven't experienced that though, Joel. I haven't experienced that. Not where I live at.
It's almost like you have to take your service advisor out to lunch. You have
except that where I'm at 6 months later, it's a new advisor.
Yeah, that's true.
Or new salesman.
I think the answer.
Taking the Starbucks.
Damn right.
Oh yeah, that'll make it pleasant. Listen, I think the answer is also generational. I think the concept of loyalty is different now to people my age and Joel's age than it is to somebody that's 21. They just live in a more impermanent world than we did. So, man, when I was a salesman, people came in to buy Cadillacs. We could have hit them in the head with a brick. They were still coming in to buy the Cadillac. They were Cadillac people. They were Chevy people. They were Ford people.
Yeah.
But I think you see less and less than that because the whole concept of transportation has shifted. Larry, you remember when we got our license? Oh my God! And how we made fun of the people that flunked their driving test. We couldn't wait to drive.
Damn right.
Kids now that don't even want their license. I can't even fathom that in reference to my own field of experience. So I think a lot of it's generational. I think you'll find older buyers tend to lean more towards a product. I think younger people have a bit less loyalty. And again, I think it's unique to where it is or what it is. If you get a great car and they take great care of you, even a younger person may be more inclined, to be more loyal. I'm in Philadelphia, you got a zillion restaurants. I go to the same 3-4 places. I like what they serve. The waitresses all know me. It's not complicated.
So what's the fourth place? Because I know it is Dunkin' Donuts, it's Starbucks, and it's McDonald's. What's the fourth place?
Maggio's.
Okay, there you go.
If you came into town, it was one of those rare instances. Did you ever find a little pizza place that was great, and then they decided to become a big restaurant and went out of business? This place got even bigger because all their food's good. They put a big catering wall behind. But I live at Maggio's. Man, if I have a business meeting, meet me at Maggio's. I go there every Friday. When my mom was alive, I took her there every Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but to your point, Larry, the younger people, we talked a little bit about retaining customers or not retaining customers, the cost. If I'm attracting those younger buyers at my business, and 40% or higher millennials are now buying vehicles, whether they're buying what they're buying, I don't know, but they're probably more or less brand loyal than their parents were. So that's a real cost of retention. If you're not doing what you need to do.
It's not their fault. They've been brain damaged. I grew up with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, James Brown, and Otis Redding. They grew up with Kanye West. What do you expect from them?
Yeah, but to your point though, Larry, I mean, if you're not retaining customers for your brand or your dealership, and they're younger customers, not to say the older customers.
Hold on. If you attack the mindset of the customer, then you can hit him. In other words, you gotta play in their field. All right.
Yeah.
And we've seen the insanity of public opinion when they wanted to lynch Elon Musk after they worshipped the altar of Elon Musk. If you can find a technology that young people think is cool, they're in. Try to get a young person off of TikTok. Try to get a young person off to whatever media it is that they like or they enjoy.
Yeah, I was listening to one of Larry's sales sessions at a semi-local dealership. Even though I've known this it is all about the relationship. So you can have all the product training you want to, and you can't sell your way out of a paper bag. Or you can have no product knowledge at all, but you can become an expert at the stuff that Larry talks about, which is all about building relationships, fact finding, gathering information, and the 9 or 10 most common objections, having a way where it's not scripted, but it's personalized to you and your personality. You'll make tons of money.
And isn't that interesting that the guys that are our age or 50 and over, they shop one way because they have relationships like Larry does, like I do, and I'm like sure everybody does. I asked my daughter who lives in California, she's looking to buy a car right now. I said, "You going into dealerships?" She said, "No, Dad, we're just shopping on the internet. We're just shopping on the internet.
Yeah.
Looking for the best car, looking for the best price." That's the way it is today. It's totally different from the way that we used to get in the car and go drive shopping. You remember the statistics? It used to be years ago that people would go to 5 or 6 different dealerships before they bought a car, and now it's 1.1 dealerships is how many they visit before they buy a car.
So I'm on a podcast, and we're talking about communication, and I was explaining that even though I'm a dinosaur, how important the phone is. And the guy said, "Larry, I respect you, but I disagree with you." I said, "Okay, why?" He said, "Because you don't know my daughter." In a weird description.
He answered the phone.
I answer my phone. But here's the beauty. He says, "You don't know my daughter." Now, he wasn't being a smart aleck. He says, "Larry, my daughter is very bright. She's not stupid, but her grandmother," now he didn't say whether it was his mother or his wife's mother, "sent her a check because she was proud of her for something she did in school. But apparently the check was larger than what you can deposit over the phone." I deal with a couple of banks with my business, and if there's no bank in town, I just take a picture of the check. But it can't be for TD Bank, it can't be over 5,000. So she came to him and said, "Dad, Grandma's check is too large for me to do over the phone." He said, "No problem. Get a deposit slip and go to the drive-thru." She says, "I can't do that. I'm going to call Grandma and ask her to send me 2 smaller checks." So if that's what we're bucking up against, if we're bucking up against people that are afraid to talk on the phone, that are afraid of certain forms of communication, and wouldn't even consider the things that we all think are normal, you better adjust some of your thinking. It's just like the guys that don't understand that Bruce Springsteen is a liar. He's not the boss. Mrs. Springsteen is the boss. And yet women still go into dealerships and they still get flirted with and called sweetheart and asked if their husband's coming back in.
Fantastic. Well, we're almost out of time. So I have a minute or two for final thoughts. Why don't we start with Larry Stanley? Give us your final thoughts on retention and what dealers can do better to retain customers in 2025.
Just a couple things. I think that everybody's had some great communication around communicating with customers. And I've been reading a few books here and there about moving in the direction of the way that customers want to communicate. And you have to with these younger people, right? Like I was at a dealership behind the sales desk and the manager and the salesperson are having this conversation. Hey, just get them on the phone, right? Get them off that text strand and get them on the phone. Big mistake. You have to communicate the way these customers want to communicate. And if they love you, they will stay with you, right? That's a way of retaining that client from the sale all the way through. And that goes for service as well. I see advisors all the time, they get a text message, they pick up the phone and they try to call the customer back. They get voicemail, right? The customer wants to text. Do what the customer wants, not what you want. So that's my final thoughts for the day, guys.
I love it.
Thank you for allowing me to be on the show.
No worries. Russell, final thoughts.
I'm going to agree with, there's so much great information. It's still about humble and kind and building a relationship and finding out what's important to them. And to further what Larry said, what is the best way they like to be communicated with? You know, they really prefer, if you ask that question, I mean, at least you're paying attention to them and they know it. So other than that, Ian, thanks for inviting me on. And it was a pleasure interacting with you and Larry and Joel. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe, final thoughts.
Yeah, I did get a lot out of this conversation and I appreciate being on it. We're doing something a little bit different, Larry. And AI is phenomenal and AI will always be, and it's going to get better and better. Yeah. But what AI and chatbots can't do is they can't sell. So at the end of the day, what we're now doing is we have a transfer system set up where an AI operator, AI voice can transfer the consumer if they want to meet with someone on a face-to-face video call. The shopper pushes the button and they're meeting live. Same thing with bots. On a chat bot, the bot can say, would you like to meet with our salesperson right now who can show you a car? Click here, and they click there and they see the sales advisor in seconds. So yeah, yes, communication is phenomenal. Live face-to-face communication. Live communication is the best. Walk into a dealership, get your handshake live.
That's right.
In a video call, they can greet you with a smile. And on AI and chat, in AI, they meet you with a voice, and on chat, they meet you with typed words. So that's the communication, and that's the way of the world. That's how they
love it, Joe. Thank you. Well said.
Larry, final thoughts?
Yeah, remember who signs your damn paycheck. It's your customers. Find a way to make them feel good
It
about
is what
themselves. Make it clear that you're glad they're there. You want to get better retention? Treat the customers like it's clear you're glad they're there and you want them to come back.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
If you have time Wednesday nights, Lethal Sales, 7 o'clock East every Wednesday. Stay tuned for more details every week, and I'll see everyone next week on the show. Have a great week.
Stanley, join in with us, but be prepared to be addressed as Lawrence. I get very surprised with Lethal Sales.
Larry, pop on Lethal Sales, man.
Okay. I figured it out.
Joel and Joel too.
You're senior on junior.
See you later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. See you on the show next week.